Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the WhoTubeShow, and we're up to episode 5. Although technically, I'm recording this when you haven't even seen episode 3 yet, so it's a bit, it's like in Doctor Who, I'm time traveling in a roundabout way. Today's guest is Edward Barlow, and you'll recognise by his outfit, not the. Well, you'll see. We'll talk about his jumper in a moment, but you'll recognise that he's a reverend, in fact. So here he is, Edward. Hello, how are you?
Hello, it's good to be here. I've enjoyed. I've only seen the first 2 episodes so far because, as you've said, we're recording this out of sequence. Really enjoyed those. So, and that also means the viewers at home know who Susan Twist is, but we don't.
This is true
because we're recording this in your past.
Yes, we are. So Susan Twist. I
thought she was just like a modern day Pat Gorman. Just cast her in all the episodes, different role every time. Friend of the director, give her the job.
Yeah, I was talking to my son about this, and you know, I mean, my son, when he gets into something, he's really into it. So whether it be Pokemon, Minecraft, whatever, through his life, he gets super into something. And he's only recently got into Doctor Who. And every time I pick him up from school, he's talking in the car about who Susan Twist is. And you know, Russell T Davies has this thing. He lies, but the way he works, you know, for me, Susan Twist, like he did say that Susan Twist is just an actress who they're recasting in several roles because of a lack of available actresses. Well, I mean, he could have said that to make us disbelieve him, and we all disbelieve him. And then when we watch the show, which we don't know yet, it could well be true what he said in the first place, that she has nothing to do with it. So, but like you say, everybody knows now. Have you got a theory?
Apart from us, because we're in the past.
Yes.
The other thing is that Russell T Davies sometimes he does sometimes make it the really obvious one. So, like with Harold Saxon being the master, it turned out he was the master. Personally, I don't want Susan Twist to turn out to be Susan Foreman because that is too easy an answer. But viewers watching this from our future will be laughing at me if it turns out she is, because it might just turn out she's the murker or something, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, you know, we have seen. No, we haven't, but they have. Anyway, let's have we seem to have already broken the ice, but let's break it a bit more formally by asking you a bit about, well, your favourites, really. So, first of all, your favourite episode or story. So, whichever.
Dimensions in Time. Straight off, Dimensions in Time.
Dimensions in Time. And what an interesting fact is, my guest from last week, which has not been on yet, was in Dimensions in Time. So,
was that Phil Newman?
Yes.
Yeah. Did he tell his Pam St. Clement anecdote? Because that's quite rude. I'm not going to repeat it.
And we have no rudeness on this show.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
We had no swearing, no rudeness. It's like BBC. Or like they used to say.
I just need to make a note of this before it all goes downhill.
Yes, no swearing. So, okay, Dimensions. That's an interesting one.
The thing with Dimensions, I'm sorry, I've got a small dog in the room who's barking. Midnight. So, with Dimensions in Time, so I was 10 when it broadcast, and I didn't really get into Doctor Who as a fan. You're going to ask me all this in a moment, aren't you? Until the early 90s repeats. So with Dimensions, suddenly we had new Doctor Who, brand new, which was something that for my generation we sort of hadn't had quite so much. And it was, and then it wasn't just new Doctor Who, it was a multi-Doctor story, multi-monster story, in glorious 3D, nauseatingly glorious sometimes, but still. And no, you can't make sense of what's going on, but I don't think that was the point, really, was it?
No, well, that's it. And yeah, I mean, all your points there. I totally agree with. It may not have been the best episode in on the planet, but
it was the best episode on the planet.
Okay, from your point of view, of course.
Yeah.
But we all disagree and agree, and this is the fandom, isn't it? Just another fact for you. This week we got a guest dog. Last week we had a guest cat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so well, we'll all see. So I'll ask you your favourite Doctor, both new and classic.
Oh, new and classic. Sylvester McCoy. Yeah, definitely Sylvester McCoy. Overall, I'll come to new in a moment. That involves a bit more work. Yeah, but the other thing with me from McCoy is, again, through sort of growing up as a fan in the 90s, possibly, I mean, his TV work's amazing, but also as he was portrayed in the Virgin New Adventures as well, when he became that sort of more scheming. There's that brilliant one where he's almost completely unconscious and he's been taken prisoner, but he keeps escaping because it's what the Doctor does. I forget exactly which book that is. I think it's one of the Dave Stone ones. Yeah, so McCoy New Adventures era.
Okay. But before you go on to your new Doctor, let's just can you just tell the audience who knitted that jumper for you?
Oh, I knitted it myself. Yeah.
And when did you learn to knit?
I learned to knit at Clergy Training College. So there was I was on placement at a church on the North Shields Council Estate, and my placement supervisor shoved me in the knit and natter group, and I was surrounded by all these North Shields nanas knitting away. And the only thing I could think of to say to sort of start a conversation going was, "So how do you do that then?" And this lady taught me how to cast on, and it's all sort of grown from there. So this was the first thing I'd done that was intarsia. Okay. I've also, just to the side of me here, I had the Hassock of Rassilon. Yeah, for kneeling on.
Yeah. What have you attempted a Tom Baker scarf yet?
Oh, problem is with scarves is it's a lot of the same stitch over and over again, particularly with the Tom Baker scarf. So the first thing I tried to knit was a Tom Baker scarf, but because I had no idea what was going on, it was really wide and then expanded even wider and then contracted, and then it was kind of doing that all the way through. So I attempted that, and that's ended up becoming a bit of a sort of rug / blanket. And I have tried one since that's better proportions, but I think I've run out of the right shade of beige, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish it.
Well, I mean, let's put an appeal out to every single Doctor Who fan that watches this. If you've got a bit of beige wool,
it has to be the right shade of beige. It has to be the right shade of beige. It's quite hard to communicate that shade over a screen because sometimes the colours distort a bit. So, I mean, there are many shades of beige.
Is there?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's a complex thing, beige. Often, it's misunderstood. Often... One of the most misunderstood colours, beige. I'm here advocating for beige today.
Yeah, beige definitely is underrated. Right. That's how I ask for my when I go to people's houses and they see it to me. Do you want
ask them for a sample of beige wool?
No, I will do, but no. I say to them, can I? They say to me, do you want a coffee? And I say, yes, please. And they say, how do you take it? Expecting me to say black or white and how many sugars. And I just say beige.
All right, beige coffee.
Which is what it is, because coffee is neither black nor white, ever. If you get black coffee, or the Americano, as they call it, it's a really, really dark shade of brown. It's not.
Oh, right, yeah.
And
white,
you're
going with that.
White
coffee. I always ask for my coffee black to match my soul, you see.
Oh, right. Well, that's ironic, to say the least. Okay, let's get back to this. Your favourite new Doctor?
Yeah, I'm a bit fickle with my new Doctors. My favourite tends to be whichever one I'm watching in the present moment. So I think we are pretty much on favourite Doctor is favourite new Doctor at the moment is Shooty Gatway, is the one on telly. We didn't really get enough time with those 3 specials for David Tennant to quite be the favourite again. So I'm still carrying a bit of a torch for Jodie Whittaker as well. Okay,
fair enough. And your favourite companion, new and classic?
Bernie Summerfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a
Has anyone said that yet?
no, nobody said that yet. But
Funny that.
but the interesting thing about her is it's in.
Sorry, the dog's probably the postman at the door. Midnight. Excuse me.
Okay, midnight's going. I'm talking to an empty screen, but you can't see that.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. Hello, Midnight. Welcome back to the show. Not talking. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, the interesting thing about Bernie is there's a lot of outside of TV, a lot of stuff that she does, or that's done outside of TV, like on Big Finish and things like that, isn't there? A lot of her stuff.
Oh yeah, which means she might also count as a new companion because she was in a book with Peter Capaldi as well.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say to you. Is it could? Let's we're on question 3, and we're, I think, about 17 or 18 minutes through the episode already. So what's your favourite logo?
Chrome. I mean, you're seeing a bit of a theme of mine now, aren't you? Definitely the Chrome logo, because it was back in the day when CGI was exciting rather than just everywhere, and they managed to do this thing that didn't quite look like bits of metal flying through space. With a lens flare, which I know for some people is their least favourite aspect of the logo, but I'm all about the lens flare.
Okay, and your favourite spin-off?
K9 Company.
K9 Company. Interesting choice. Favourite, I do this, is favourite villain / monster / alien. So not all of them.
Tara Wood Beast.
Right, okay. And do you prefer the Master or Missy?
I think it depends which one. If it's Anthony Ainley, he's by all means top master for me. That golden moment at the end of Trial of a Time Lord where he crops up on screen laughing at everyone because he's worked out the whole plot and nobody else has. Even though like there's Pip and Jane Baker episodes there, no one can work out what's going on. But Anthony Ainley has, and he's laughing at everyone. So yeah, Ainley at the top, and I think Missy's probably actually on my second favourite master list. Yeah, that would be So yeah,
mostly Master, mostly Ainsley, but Ainley. Sorry, but
I just see her as another master, really.
Yeah. Well, that's what she was. But it's some people prefer the way it was portrayed than perhaps a master has or what have you. But it's different. What about your favourite guest star? And by this I mean the Martin Clunes of this world.
Oh, Beryl Reid, without a doubt. Ever since I saw that clip from the filming of Earthshock where she was getting really annoyed with everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Your favourite version of the TARDIS? Interior.
Interior, right. Again, niche answer, but on a vein with the other ones. So back in the 90s, they did, and one of those things that very few people saw it, but the pictures did the rounds. Was it something like Sky or B Sky B or something did a Doctor Who night, and there were linking bits with Sylvester McCoy. No, or was it? No, it was early BBC Three. It was that one, and Sylvester McCoy was stood in front of a model of the TARDIS console room that Mike Tucker had made specially for it. Okay. And you had the console hanging down the middle of the room in the same way it connects to the ceiling in the new series, but it didn't touch the floor.
Okay. So
you could actually, roll things underneath and stuff. So yeah, that was
fair enough. And it's something different, isn't it? Right. Do you prefer having one companion or more than one?
That's the hard one. So when you've got more companions, and I think another guest said something similar about this a couple of weeks ago, when you've got more companions, you've obviously got to find more for them to do. And in the old series format where you had, say, 100 minutes to fill up, you could have lots of companions doing lots of things, and they all had sort of lines, and well, apart from the ones where like Nissa slept through the story or things like that. So there was a lot more going on, and there were more sort of you could jump between who you were finding relatable in the moment. Whereas in the newer series, with only about 45 minutes per episode, you fill the episode with companions, and by the time you've given them all a line, that's your episode gone. So it's, yeah, I'm thinking the more concentrated story format we've got now is lending it better to fewer companions. Although I think they handle it generally okay, I think, in Jodie Whittaker's era. But then with Fox, you did just have that continuity, and you could send, one person off to space 1 week whilst another one's in Liverpool and all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Good one. And I'm going to finish on this question, probably the most important one you're going to be asked all show. Jelly babies or fish fingers and custard?
I've actually got a jar of jelly babies right here. So yeah, jelly babies, definitely a go-to. I have had fish fingers and custard before. I had them on my stag do. We were in Black Park where they filmed Full Circle and State of Decay and bits of The Visitation. There's a Go Ape there. And then after we'd done all the sort of ropes and wires and things, my best woman just takes out the picnic lunches brought, and there are, I mean, they've been carried around in a cool box all day. So these are like cold fish fingers with cold custard. But it's the sort of thing you do on a stag do, isn't it?
Yes. Not me, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would not. No, never fish fingers and custard. I don't mind the sweet savoury thing because I'm not one of these that argues against ham and pineapple pizza, but I will draw the line at fish fingers and custard.
There is one of the Doctor Who recipe books. It's Dining with the Doctor, which is an unauthorised one produced by, I think her name's Chris Rachel Osland, blogger. There's a whole appendix at the back of different fish finger and custard recipes, but what she tries to do is actually match the sweet and the savoury. So you're making a breaded fish goujon, but you're doing it with a sort of yellowish hollandaise sauce that looks like a custard, but it's savoury. Or like cakes that look like fish fingers, but you're having them with actual custard.
Good idea.
Creme anglaise, because it's an American book.
Good idea. I'm wondering whether they actually did that with Matt Smith or whether he actually ate fish fingers and custard.
I bet he probably just ate the fish fingers and custard. Although they might have had something that, do you think they possibly had like fake fish that wouldn't go funny in the studio lights?
Probably with like you described there, cake made fish fingers look made out of cake. Yeah. My best friend is a cake artist, and that would be something quite simple for her, So
yeah, that's your next birthday cake sorted then.
She does wedding cake.
Suggest a fish fingers and custard cake. In fact, if she's watching, that's what Phil wants for his next birthday. Yeah.
She doesn't like Doctor Who, so thankfully she's not watching. Right. Okay. So for a few, let's get into just having a chat about Doctor Who. Although we have done that, one of the big questions I ask everybody, and will do throughout the show, never swaying from this. I'm going to ask you this first and foremost: is what does Doctor Who mean to you?
Well, obviously, it's that irresistible magic which adults adore and children love. Possibly not my own words there. It's very difficult, but it is. It's a very difficult question to put in your answer into words, and there is something undefinable about it. I think what it means for me is the sort of the hope that anyone can be a hero. It had that, often you get sort of the hero of the story as sort of the macho one who's the best at fighting and all of that. But with the Doctor, you've got somebody, whichever incarnation, bit geeky, bit off the wall, bit eccentric, irritates people, all of those things, and yet is still in a position to save the day and to help other people save the day, the normal people he meets in the course of the adventures, or she meets in the course of the adventures. People who would otherwise be victims can be the people who can overthrow the alien regime or fight off the invasion with a wok or all of that. I think it's that. I think it's the combination of there's a sort of fantasy realism to a lot of it as well. You can see the TARDIS coming into your own life and the worlds of wonder that opens up with that. Like, I like Star Trek, but that's in the future and in deep space. Sort of the idea of the Enterprise crashing in your garden in the middle of the night is, not really. But then Doctor Who, that's exactly what happens to Amy Pond.
Yeah, exactly. And do you sort of like what you just described there? Do you is that one of your sort of beliefs in the real world that anybody could be a hero?
Yeah.
Like,
I thought you were going to ask if it was a belief in the real world that the TARDIS might crash into my garden in the morning, which everything's possible. Yeah, I think, and I think it's something that I see in my work as a priest as well. You meet a lot of people, and you're in a position to see people who might consider themselves quite ordinary to do thoroughly extraordinary things.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a great sort of way of living your life and things like that. Yeah, and of course I'm wearing glasses, which makes me instantly clever. Of course, which we all know is a thing, a Doctor thing. Just when did you first start watching Doctor Who? What was the first or the earliest memory really of Doctor Who?
So the earliest memory I have is watching Trial of a Time Lord. I just sort of, how like those childhood memories, you just get little snippets, little flashes.
Yes.
Bizarrely, we had a black and white TV at the time, but I, even like up until it was available on VHS, I was still remembering it sort of quite vividly in colour because it was that gaudy. But yeah, I remember sort of Perry walking around with Matrona Carney, Syl and Kiv, people being strapped to like operating beds, frequent shots to Linda Bellingham. Yeah, and those are the sort of hazy childhood memories. But I'm also so when Frontios came out on VHS in the 90s, I put it on and my mum was in the room and she said, "Oh, you've already seen it." And she, it turns out that because I think Frontios came out early 1984, so I would have been around 1. And she apparently would put me in my seat and just sit me in front of the Doctor Who while she did the ironing. So that was, yeah, the first recorded watching of Doctor Who that I have, anecdotal evidence for is Frontios. I was born just in time for Arc of Infinity Part 3. Whether I got to see that or not is another question.
Yeah, maybe it depends how busy your mum was at that time.
I think she was quite busy, in fairness.
Quite busy. I always thought. So a different slant on that question, if you like. What has been your favourite episode ever?
I know we talked about
other Dimensions in Time. Your favourite, other favourite episode. Tell me about it and why it was your favourite. Oh. You've already talked about Dimensions in Time, but another one perhaps.
Well, was it a bit of a soft spot for the Stones of Blood? I love the way it jumps between reality. You've got the sort of modern fantasy with Professor Rumford and the Stones and all the stuff happening very much in the British countryside, but at the same time you've got this massive great hyperspace ship with these rattly floating Megara tinkling their way around, and through all of that, Tom Baker and Mary Tam just effortlessly breezing between the two with quite a carefree attitude to everything. So yeah, there's that. I think not so much for the episode itself, but I also remember that the sheer hype and thrill when Rose came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was at university at the time, and somebody was holding a Doctor Who party at their house, and yeah.
Well, yeah.
Excitement.
I think most because we had such a lack. I mean, it's hard even having, for me, it's hard even having 1 year without any Doctor Who episodes or new Doctor Who episodes. It just feels hard because for me, and I've explained this before in most of the shows I've done, is that for me it's a mental health thing. It takes me away for 45 minutes from real life, and I'm on an adventure with the Doctor. but yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I think when it came out, or when in the lead up to it coming out, we've had such a lack, say a lack. We probably had more Doctor Who stuff in the time when it wasn't on television than when it has been. But the sheer thrill of it coming back. Did you name your dog after the fact that it looks like the colour of the sky at midnight?
Yeah, my son named him Midnight.
Okay.
On that basis, he has actually his mother's completely black, but his dad's auburn, so a sort of copper colour. So there are actually slight tinges, but we live in Zone 6, so Midnight is that colour because of the light pollution.
And okay, next, are people allowed to give you a call or distract you when Doctor Who is on television at that moment in time? Are they allowed to do that?
These days, yes, because everything's online. You can pause telly in a way that, I mean, to be honest, with the sort of family routines and things, we rarely watch at a broadcast time anyway. So our routine at the moment with Doctor Who is my son will go to bed on Saturday night, which can take, unpredictable amounts of time. And then when my wife and I are ready, we'll then watch it on iPlayer, so usually just after broadcast. And then actually at the moment, because my son's 8 now, so he's just old enough to watch it if we just checked beforehand.
Yeah.
So we then watch it again on Sunday afternoon with him.
A bit of a family event then.
Sorry?
A bit of a family event.
Yeah, it is now in a way that it wasn't really before. And he spent the last year or two catching up on a few episodes, and we've been sort of gearing them into sort of, well, as he's grown older and been able to sort of watch. There are 1 or 2 bits where occasionally whilst we're watching through, if there's a line or something, we'll we might remember to just talk over that when it comes up. And his we had a good, so somebody tweeted the other week, it was at the beginning of 73 yards, there's the line about, have you gone for a pee behind the TARDIS? And somebody tweeted that they thought it was the first use of pee in that context. And good old TARDIS Wiki revealed that actually there was a typo in Delta and the Bannermen, the Target novel, where the Doctor should have been peering over a shelf. It was corrected for the 2nd edition of the book. And I thought, 8-year-old boy, this is the sort of thing my son will find hilarious. So because there were some slightly more tense bits than 73 yards, and that line about peeing around the back of the TARDIS at the beginning, I told him about the Delta and the Bannermen thing. And then every time a tense bit came up, I just reminded him of it. Doctor Seven's peeing over a shelf. And he was too busy laughing to get scared.
It's quite an image, and I'm glad it never appeared on television.
I'm sure Sylvester McCoy is as well.
Yeah. And okay, we're going to do a game in a moment, but the last question I'm going to ask you about your experiences of Doctor Who are, did you ever actually hide behind a sofa?
I have a vague memory at one point of trying to, as a child, watch Doctor Who from behind the sofa to see if it improved the quality. No, to be honest, I think most of the place I've lived, the sofa's been quite close to the wall, or not at the right angle towards the TV. It's very hard to hide behind the sofa if it's pushed against the wall. So no, sorry. That made me a bad fan for not watching from behind the sofa.
No. It means that you can cope with the scary parts a lot better than some others.
I did actually. I would have been 5 or 6, and we were living in France. Dad was doing some work at CERN, and they repeated Genesis of the Daleks in French.
Okay.
And seeing it was the cliffhanger where Tom Baker has the mutant around his neck. And my parents had seen it before. They were like, oh no, the companion's getting off his neck at the beginning of the next episode. But that thing for me was just so terrifying. I refused to watch the next couple of episodes.
Well, I'm actually just rewatching that with my son. My son's he's watching through New Who, but at the same time he wants to watch what I class as important episodes that he should watch from the past. So we're currently partway through Genesis of the Daleks.
Okay.
I think that was the last cliffhanger, and he edits this show. I just puts the credits on the beginning and end, but he watches the shows. And I'm glad that he's going to be doing this one in a couple of weeks, because he won't have, or this won't spoil that cliffhanger. But there you go.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, oh goodness, how did he get out of that thing with the Dalek Mutant? Obviously, I refuse to watch the next episode, so I have no idea what goes on. Does that help?
That helps
Right, yeah.
massively, but he won't watch this until this episode that we're doing. Until
that's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, we'll even know who Susan Twist is.
We're going to do a bit more time travel now, because over the last few weeks, and people won't know this because they haven't seen it. Well, they will know it. I've been doing a different, or trying to improve the game at the end, because it is only for fun. And the Price is Right one, I'm taking that to multiple choice now. But you specifically wanted to do the game from the first episode.
Yeah, because I was watching the second episode, and the Price is Right game was absolutely terrifying. And I'd been watching the first one and going, oh, I could do this. And then the second one, well, I have no idea how much people are selling things for on eBay.
Well, this is true. But I'm going to now revert back to episode 1, and we're going to do a few episodes where I want you to spoil the entire show by changing one word in the title of the show or episode. So first one I'm going to give you is Warriors of the Deep.
Right, I'm going to change 2 words. Warriors of the Deep becomes Warriors of the Sheep. And it's just more of that all creatures great and small stuff for Peter Davison. Warriors of the Sheep.
The Keys of Marinus.
The Keys of Marinas.
Sorry.
The Doctor and... No, well, that's what I'm changing it to. The Doctor and his friend want to take a boating holiday, but the person who's supposed to let them into the marina hasn't turned up on time, so they need to find the keys.
I like
Keys
that.
Of Marinas.
Resurrection of the Daleks.
Residential training course of the Daleks.
Residential training. I can imagine them all sitting behind desks.
Yeah, passing sweets to each other without the facilitator noticing.
And arguing over who's going to share the room. So there's two from the Cult of Skaro saying that's not fair because he's got a room on his own, and we've got.
And which Daleks come out of his room in the middle of the night when the fire alarm comes off? Yeah.
Survival.
Death. Ruined survival. Death. No one survived.
No, and to be fair, it was, or we thought, was the death of Doctor Who. What about? Is it? I keep forgetting.
Logopolis.
Yes. That
Logo Police. It's about copyright infringement. The Logo Police. Checking you're not using a logo you shouldn't do because it's under copyright.
Fair enough. And you know what? It's I suppose with the police box, it's quite a good call, that one.
Copyright to the BBC these days.
Yes.
I'll just cover up the one behind me.
I love all the stuff behind you. You did tell me a bit about that. They're held together with glue, a lot of them, aren't they?
Yeah, these things break quite easily, especially when they fall off shelves or children play with them.
Yeah. 4 to Doomsday.
Oh, 4 to Doomsday. Well, you make it worse. You just reduce the number, don't you? So 2 to Doomsday, 1 to Doomsday, and then Doomsday is an episode of its own right. So
true.
Or you could count up to make Doomsday further away. 5 to Doomsday, 6 to Doomsday.
Yes. Yeah. 84 to Doomsday.
Yeah.
The long episode, that one. And we're going to move on to the only episode, or the only story that I have got on VHS still. The Curse of Fenric.
Oh. The Curse of Fenric. The mild expletive of Fenric.
The mild expletive.
Yeah, as opposed to the full-on cursing, it's just gone crap.
Just a little, yes. Yeah. Or a pee over a shelf. The Happiness Patrol.
Happiness Patrol.
You're not allowed to say you're not allowed to say unhappiness.
No, that's too easy. So the mild nonchalance patrol. The nonchalance patrol. Neither happy nor sad.
I'm going to run into some new episodes now. So Aliens of London.
Aliens of London, Aliens of Penge. Penge.
Where's that?
It's actually in London, but it's it doesn't quite have the glamour of crashing into the
Big Ben.
House of Parliament. No.
Yeah. The Angels Take Manhattan.
I want to do another place name one to make it rubbish, like the Angels Take Bexley Heath or something like that. Or maybe it could be something else taking Manhattan. The Angel Delight takes Manhattan. It's just covered in a sort of blancmange pink goo.
Yes. A type of custard, really, isn't it? You know.
Arguably. I'm not so sure, though.
It's so long since I've had blancmange. It's so long. I think it was in the 1980s I last had it. I've never seen it available in the shops either.
Oh, I found some the other week. It's or was it Instant Whip? Because there was a subtle difference between them, and one is still easier to find than the other.
Instant Whip is available.
Maybe I'm confusing the two.
Blancmange I have not seen for years. I don't even know how to spell it.
Oh, blancmange?
Yes.
Oh, well, blancmange you can make at home. It's easy. It's corn flour and milk. Yeah.
No, you don't make things at home. You buy it.
Yes.
No. Okay, fair enough. This is the last one. Okay, and this is the last one because, and actually, arguably, it's a fitting end because it's the right title for the whole thing. The whole of Doctor Who.
Okay? Oh, don't pick it up too much. I might be rubbish.
Oh no! The original title.
Oh, okay.
Is perhaps the title of Doctor Who. Full stop. The greatest.
Is it Dimensions in Time?
No, the greatest show in the galaxy.
The greatest show in the galaxy. Now we could be, there are some for this that sort of would be quite easy. The worst show in the galaxy, the greatest show in your street. But I think we need to do a bit more with it, don't we? So, well, we're making it worse. The lamest show in the galaxy. What if it wasn't a show? What if it was something else? The greatest toaster in the galaxy.
The great, yeah.
It's a sort of product placement they're not allowed to do on the BBC. Advertise a toaster.
Yes. Other toasters are available.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, the greatest sow in the galaxy. I've only taken out one episode and it's about a pig. Yeah.
Good. Right. That concludes broadcast A. But that concludes. I don't even know why I said that, but maybe I've gone nuts or I don't know. But listen, Edward, it has been such a pleasure to have you on.
And you, well, it's good job for you.
And Midnight.
And Midnight, you can hear him in the background.
Yeah, can we say goodbye to Midnight?
Yeah, he'll come over to me. Oh no, he says, right. I'll get him. Oh, here you are.
There we go. We've got Midnight coming back. Oh, here he is.
Oh, usually he settles when I'm doing this sort of thing, but he's just wanted to sort of be a bit more vocal today, hasn't he?
Hello, Midnight. You're going to look now and say, who's that? I don't know. Oh, the tongue's coming out. It's great having a pet named the same name as an episode, of course. But listen,
well, the family wouldn't let me call him Meglos.
Edward and Midnight, it's been a pleasure speaking to you both. And yeah, don't forget to make another jumper like that and get it in the post to me as soon as you can. But thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll speak again sometime.
Yeah, be good.
Stay friends. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.